The New York Islanders fall 6-3 to the Boston Bruins tonight in a complete no-show. The Islanders decided not to come to play tonight and they paid for it dearly. Yeah, it's got to get used to losing around the island right now. So it's unfortunate. We were holding water there for a while, but the dike is starting to burst and the water is starting to get into the boat, and we're slowly starting to sink here. We entered into the night in 10th in the conference. We're going to drop down to 11th, but more importantly, we're going to be 3 points out of a playoff spot. It's still not life and death. I would be thinking that if we at least had our guys close to returning, but all we've heard is that Duclair and Pellick are skating on their own, and that could mean anything. So uh I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to New York Islanders, when they say 4-6, they don't really mean 4-6. They mean it's minimum six. And I've noticed that pattern with the Islanders with their injury reporting. Day to day can turn out to be 4-6. Week to week is really month to month with the Islanders. So if you're trying to keep tabs on our injuries that way, that's how you can do it. So anyway, it takes Boston Bruins 57 seconds to score the first goal of the game. It's Brad Marchand from Elias Lindholm. And just say this, the Bruins have scored 3 goals in their previous 3 games. So they were basically averaging 1 goal a game for the last three. And it only took them 57 seconds to score against the Islanders. And lo and behold, we're already down 1-0 before the ice is even dry yet. So uh not the greatest of starts, but well, it's early, and you know what? Maybe life will be better chasing the lead instead of holding the lead. And in some ways, the game kind of worked out that way tonight. But then Marchand, halfway, little less than halfway through the period, makes it 2-0, and just on a horrible. The first goal, there wasn't a whole lot you could do. I mean, that was just a beautiful goal off the face-off by Marchand. Nothing you could do about that. But the second goal, you could pretty much blame all 5 Islanders who were on the ice. That was the Nelson line, and everybody pretty much blew an assignment on that. And Marchand scores again, his 8th goal from Brazeau and Elias Lindholm again. So. The only positive I can think about that is that Brad Marchand is on my fantasy team. I never cheer for those guys when they're playing against the Islanders, but I mean, if I'm gonna lose, might as well cash in. And fortunately for me, I also had Maxim Sipakov who answered the bell on a beautiful feed by Brock Nelson. Brock was feeling it tonight. He was feeling it tonight. He was absolutely flying out in the ice. It was a beautiful anticipation play by Brock. He stole the puck on a turnover and made a quick dish to Sipakov, and Sipakov just made a beautiful, quick. It was almost a deflection, but it wasn't. He got rid of that puck so fast, and that's why he scored. Went right between the 5 hole. Beautiful goal from Sipkov, getting his 3rd goal. And it was funny. I was gonna say, Max really needs to start producing because he had a chance before his goal where he was wide open. He put a backhander over the net, and I went, "Oh man, come on, Max, you need to start cashing in." And it was only about 2 or 3 minutes after that he actually scored. So a beautiful play by Brock. Nice finish by Sepikov. Something I don't say very often from the Islanders. Nice finish on that play, but it was a nice finish. And then hope abound in the second period as Brock Nelson scores his 9th of the year. And I tell you, man, Brock was feeling it. He was just feeling it. An assist from Siplikov and George on that one. So a beautiful goal by Brock, 9th of the year. And the Islanders are back. It's 2-2. Excitement abounds. Now we got a chance to take the lead and then maybe blow it later. So let's see what happens. Well, that doesn't happen because Morgan Geeky scores another goal that Sorokin just has no chance on from Pavel Zacha and Pasternak. And it's just like, Oh, so typical of the Islanders, just claw their way back, take a period and a half to get back into the game, and then just to give it up relatively fairly quickly after tying the game up. But Brock Nelson with a great shot, and he basically circled that entire zone. Sometimes with the puck, sometimes without, until he got that puck back again, and beautiful pickup off his skates to score that goal. And really nifty, nice play by Pulock on that one too to get it over to him. But the way Brock picked up that pass off his left skate was really nice. That was a sweet play. So nice play by Pollock, and Horvat finally picks himself up an assist, gets a little something to feel good about himself. So anyway, we're going into the third period, 3-3. What could go wrong? Third period is great for us, right? Yeah, we know better than that. Beautiful deflection by Pavel Zacha, and he scores his fourth goal of the year. And should I mention that Boston hadn't scored 3 goals in 7 games, and now they early in the third they've got their fourth goal, and then lo and behold, Zach is going to do it again from Pasternak and Zadorov. And now it's 5-3. It's game, set, match basically at that point. We pull the goaltender basically at a 4.5 minute mark. They score after the power play ends. It was 6-on-4. We can't even score 6-on-4, which is just tragic, just tragic. But Zadorov came out of the penalty box and the puck was being iced. Yeah, got himself an easy empty netter, make it 6-3. And Zadorov scores his first goal for the Boston Bruins. So uh, that was that. It was just basically a complete no-show tonight by the Honors, except for a few select players and the Nelson line. Other than that, we didn't have a whole lot going for us tonight with any of our players. I mean, I you hate to point out points like, well, they did this well in the game, and they did that well in the game, and whatnot. But bottom line is that they're not coming through, and they're not finishing. Like we can't go on one line when we're a win by committee kind of line. I mean, the Nelson line gave us everything tonight. Everything, all 3 goals, and just a contribution here or there from another line, and I mean, Patrick ended up breaking up the Horvat Lee combination, and I could kind of see it. Like that line has been our second best line, sometimes our third best line, and there just wasn't nothing happening. And then you go to the third line, and Holmstrom's really stale. But we'll get into it with all the player reactions. I'll talk about it more. So anyway, Max Siplikov, man, there's never a game where that guy's vision just does not absolutely blow my mind. Some of the passes he made out there tonight, and I hope you guys have been listening to my podcast and isolating Siplikov on breakouts from our own end. It is something to see, man. He has imagination abound, and it's different every time how he gets that puck out, but it's so consistent, so consistent, and just laying his body out in the line there, getting a goal and assist. It was a beautiful goal that he got tonight. So got a couple shots on net, and he got a little extra ice time. He was up around 17 minutes tonight. So it was good to see for Max. He had a great game. The whole second line had a good game. The rest of the team, not so much. Simon Holmstrom, he was pretty much non-existent for the first period and a half, and there was a reason for that. That would be the line that he was playing with, which would be Engvall and Cizikas. And Holmstrom was basically out on an island by himself there for the first period and a half, and he was last game as well. So the move up, once he moved up and started to play with some talent, then all of a sudden he started looking really good. But Simon in this game ends up a -3, and that's not acceptable. But he did have a good second half of the game for what it's worth. Bo Horvat, wow, this guy is just so snake bitten right now. He had 22 minutes of ice time, and he only came up with an assist. and he had 6 shots on net, 6 shots on net tonight. And the first one that he had was a prime scoring area. And once again, he just put it into the breadbasket. Now the next 5 shots after that were good attempts. They were glove hand saves and stuff like that. But he's just snake bitten right now. He's shooting, he's trying. Is just nothing is going for him, and that once again comes back to, well, I talked about how Bo really isn't a natural goal scorer. He earns his goals, and you're going to go through spells like this. That just happens in hockey. So all I can say for Bo is just keep plugging away, keep plugging away, keep doing, keep shooting, keep skating, and they're eventually going to go for you. Matt Martin, wow. Hold on a second. I gotta double check that, make sure it's not a 9. Oh my God, it is. Matt Martin had 9 minutes and 38 seconds of ice time tonight. Now, granted, it wasn't Martin's worst game of the year, but I mean, there's a reason why nothing is happening out there. When you're given 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes of ice time to the that fourth line, that's just no good. No good. They put a pressure on there at the end of the game for one shift, not that long. Wally came close tonight a couple times to scoring. He was shooting tonight, but we just can't afford to have that fourth line on the ice. We just simply can't. We can't. So like I said, not Martin's worst game, but nothing to write home to mom about either, Matt. So not good. Pierre Engvall. Wow. Guy should become a musician because he just disappeared right in front of our very eyes. Like, where did he go? Where did he go? Oh, he went back to where he always goes, like he always does. Why Toronto got rid of him. This is exactly what happened in Toronto. Exactly what happened in Toronto. He would get threatened and benched and put on the fourth line, and then he would respond, and then he would get put back up, and look, everything looked rosy for 5 games, and then once he got comfortable, he just went straight back into his vanilla play, which a little effort. I've never seen a guy blow so many backhand passes in my life, and I still say that is due to him having the wrong lie on his stick, or he's just not good enough to know how to do a saucer pass with the backhand. It's not really that hard, Pierre. Maybe go off in the corner with a puck and just go up against the boards and just keep trying it. Keep trying it. You'll get it. Oh, what a waste! He was a he. If you could buy a bag of useless, you'd be buying Pierre Engvall tonight because that's exactly what he was. Just absolutely useless out there on the ice. And I really think that Patrick, when he made the switch, thinking that, well, Lee and Casey have played before and they've had some chemistry together, so maybe they'll get something out of that line, even with Engvall on it. And and by moving Holmstrom up, that gave Holmstrom some life. And I mean, you could definitely see the life in Holmstrom, but Anders was not bringing those two guys up to a respectable line. Casey, once again, is not good enough, and he's bringing us down too. So obviously not as bad as Matt, but he is, if we're going to be honest about it. Kyle Palmieri, I thought he was okay for the night that the line had. It was really Max and Brock that were making everything happen on that line tonight. But Palm still played a good game. He just every time he tried to make something happen, it didn't quite happen for him tonight. There was a puck bouncing off his stick or just something, or he'd get caught in congestion with players, and it would just be fumble, 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 fumble. That was the kind of night that Palms had, but he was engaged, and he still made some nice passes, and I mean he still had some strong points in tonight's game, but it really was Max and Brock that really made that line shine tonight. So, but not saying anything bad against Palms. As for Wallstrom, I love Wally, and I have to agree with what Patrick finally said. He was told that Wally was a finisher, and he goes, "Well, I'd like to see it." Couldn't agree with you more, Patrick. Couldn't agree with you more. However, I'm going to throw this in, okay? Oliver Wahlstrom was Barry Trotz's whipping boy right from the very start. From day one in the NHL, Wahlstrom came into Barry Trotz, and he was his whipping boy from day one. Wally was not given a lot of opportunities. He had one opportunity on the first line, and then it got taken away. But if everybody remembers the start to the season that Wally was having when he tore his ACL. Like him, Barzell, and Lee were flying. That was a good first line for us. And it looked like, hey, Wally's turning the corner. Wally's turning the corner. This is great. Well, ACL injuries are like a year out and then a year to recover, basically. And Wally's just, he should be in that period where he's now finally fully recovered because he got that year in last year, which wasn't a very good year. But he's now in that position to recover. Well, I mean, and then ever since then, he's been with Duffers. So I know some really, really superstar good players will score with playing with two Duffers. But you guys are just not giving Wallstrom the chance to succeed. Yeah, he was on the power play for what? 3 games? 3 games. How many power plays a game do the Islanders get? So that means he probably got on to 4, 5 power plays in 3, 4 games, maybe 6. It's like I get it, people. I know you're frustrated with Wallstrom. I'm frustrated with him too. But like, if we're gonna call him out as a finisher, like put him in the position to finish. And don't say, well, I put him on the power play for 3, 4 games. I mean, our power play sucks. What, you expect him to be the savior of the power play? He could be in time, maybe if you gave him a chance. Maybe if you set up the power play for him to go there. I don't think you guys are teaching Wally properly on his positioning in that one timer spot. The way I've always talked about this, the reason Alexander Ovechkin is always so successful on that offside, which is what Wally was playing, is because he plays that defensive spot like a left wing on a tabletop hockey. I don't know, people, if you've ever played tabletop hockey, but the left winger, he goes from the blue line and curves right around to about the side of the net, and that's about as far as he can go. Well, Ovechkin is constantly moving up and down. I have seen Ovechkin score from the goal crease from that defensive position because he's always constantly going up and down. Somebody teach him how to do it. And then learn how to set that play up. The Islanders haven't been able to do that. They just haven't. But that's me talking too much about Wallstrom. I'm just saying you know, and the really crappy thing about it is I know this is a hockey player, is when you lose confidence, some players never get it back. They just never get it back. I have seen guys. I played with guys that dominated minor hockey. And then all of a sudden, once it got up into the tough area, once you started turning 15 and 16, those guys just disappeared. Just disappeared. And that's kind of what happens with a lot of guys when they're making that next step to the NHL. So you never really know who's going to make it. But like I said, enough of that. Let's talk about Anders. Not Anders' best game tonight, but he was being tossed around from line to line. He went to a horrible line with Cizikas and Engvall, so it's not like he could save the day with those guys. That's for sure. So not his best game, but hey, how can you blame him being stuck with those two guys? I like I said, I get what Patrick was trying to do. He was trying to make things happen. Every once in a while, you got to shake things up. And I guess if there was a choice to do it, that was probably it. So, but I kind of felt bad for Anders being stuck with those two. Brock Nelson, A++ game. He was flying out there tonight, absolutely flying. 2 goals and an assist. Now I got 10 goals on the year, tied with Palms for the team lead. But man, he looked good out there. He was flying, he was passing, a lot of take. He was anticipating plays, cutting off plays, and stealing the puck. It was just a super game by Brock. Not much more I can say about Brock in this game. I remember we kind of saw Brock disappear for about 5, 6 games there, and for 4 games now, I've been saying he's kind of improved on each one of those four. Well, tonight says Brock Nelson is back the way we expect him to be back. So great game by Brock tonight. Loved it. Kurt McLean, I yeah, he definitely has Martin on his anchor, but sometimes you just have to team with the guy. And I've done this before with another guy on a team where we've been on a line where we had a weak third link. So we basically played together. We just kept the play on our side of the ice and not on his. And we could still make things happen. So, you know, I think Kirk kind of needs to team up with Wally. I guess the first thing is they got to be able to get it out of the zone because Martin doesn't help. But tonight and last game, at least we weren't getting hemmed in like we were a few games back there and for about 5 games in a row. So I mean, here's hoping. But like I think McLean just needs to team up with Wally and get, when you're leaving the zone, go on Wally's side. When do just stay as far away from Martin as you possibly can, and maybe things will start happening for you. But we need a little bit more of. We know that McLean can do sneaky things like get breakaways and stuff like that, and he needs to somehow find a way to do that. I know it. I know his hands are tied right now. He's a busy guy just trying to get the puck out of his own end. Pajot, I thought had an okay game tonight. I thought I thought that line of Pajot played better once Holmstrom came up tonight, but that's not saying nothing against Lee. I just think that Holmstrom was so excited to be playing with a couple of good players that they just seemed to click more than when Anders was playing in the first period. So from that point of view, it was a good shakeup for Pajot in that, and he played a little better in the second half. Casey, I've kind of already touched on him. It's just he's falling and he's falling fast. And it's not like he's a huge detriment out there. He's just not helping us. He's really not helping us. Uh, so we're kind of in a bind here. We've got Casey for another couple of years after this, and I don't think those couple of years with Casey will be as bad as the Martin years that we're experiencing last year and this year, but it could be bad again. And that's nothing against Casey. That's just a soldier whose body is wearing down from the style of play that he plays. I know, like my body is a wreck to this day because of hockey, and it wears you down, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once your body starts failing, that's it. That's a, you can cry, you can do whatever, but it's over once that happens. Uh, on defense, I thought Ryan Pollock was just absolutely outstanding tonight, and he's really making a really solid effort at doing some offensive things too. Picked up another assist tonight and was a +1 in a 6-3 game. So that in itself is pretty impressive. He only played 20 minutes of ice time tonight, but he was excellent in that ice time. When Ryan was out in the ice, we really weren't in trouble. Uh, Dobson -3 tonight. Now one of them's an empty netter, but still that's a -2. Not the greatest game by Noah. I thought he tried to engage tonight in the offense, just wasn't working, wasn't happening. Got a couple shots on net. He got 3 block shots tonight, so he was playing some D out there, and I saw him in a couple instances playing pretty tough. And I usually ride him for not being that tough. I mean, he'll never be tough, but you know what I mean. So at least he was trying to play strong on his stick and that. So. Uh, Chalosky, I thought it was an okay game. Pretty much what you're gonna be able to expect from Chalosky. Making a few mistakes, making a few nice exits from the zone, making a few nice passes. So uh, it's pretty much what you get with Cholowski. So, but overall, like he played 16 minutes of ice time, so and he was only -1. So I mean, for a 5'6" defenseman, what do you expect, right? This was probably one of Romy's worst games of the year for Mr. Romanov. He was a -2 tonight, and pretty much those -2 were printed on the back of his nameplate because one was just a horrible, horrible giveaway. He had time and wasn't pressured on it and just shot it into the Islanders' ass. I'm not sure why he did that, but shortly after that, the puck was in our end, and he just wasn't strong enough on his stick for that. I can't remember if it was the fourth or fifth goal, but yeah, two goals were a direct result of Romanov tonight. Other than that, like his play was good, but hey, when you make mistakes and you pay the price twice, that's not a good game, no matter what way you look at it. Isaiah George, the kid continues to impress me. I mean, he was a +1 tonight in almost 20 minutes of ice time. Got himself an assist, second point of his NHL career. And he continues to do a lot of the good little things right, like the zone exits. I like how he doesn't panic. He doesn't panic, and that's definitely a huge positive for a defenseman. A lot of times they'll lose a puck just because they panic, and Isaiah doesn't seem to have that panic button in his tool bag. So it's just great to see the way he's developing. I don't know if we get all six of our defensemen back. I'm not really sure how you can send him down. I and you can't have him as the seventh defenseman in the stands. So I'm saying I don't know how you can take him out of the top six, really, to be honest with you, the way he's playing. I don't care what his age is. Butch said tonight, well, you go down the AHL and learn more. Hey, he's made a lot less mistakes than a lot of other Islanders that I've seen out there. He's doing just fine, Butch. I have no problem with George learning on the fly in the NHL because he is handling it like a man. So enough said about that. Sorokin, I don't know what to say for you tonight, Ilya. Obviously, a bunch of those goals you didn't have a chance on. Yeah, just one of those games. So uh, not a whole lot you could have done, Ilya. So uh, one of them was an empty netter of the six, but really, I can only think of one maybe he could have saved that wasn't a goal. So can't blame Ilya for tonight. I thought at times the Islanders, just as a whole, played like garbage. So that's just pretty much the way I seen it. Anyway, uh, from what's happened here, we've dug ourselves a hole. We just haven't put the shovel into the ground anymore. We've already taken a couple of scoops out, and we're about to put another shovel in there with the next game coming up. If we want to be able to survive this, and by no means panic as a fan base right now. We're only 3 points out. This time last year, American Thanksgiving, we were not in a playoff spot. We made the playoffs. But we need some of our guys to start returning soon, and that would be wonderful. So, anyway, don't hit the panic button too quick yet, folks. But we need a whole lot better effort than we had tonight. So, that is 100% a correct statement. Much, much better effort. We need everybody on their toes. So, to all my American viewers, I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving. We already had ours in October. So, all you guys and girls out there, y'all take care and peace out.